You prayed. You asked clearly, honestly, with everything you had. And then nothing happened. No answer, no sign, no shift in the situation you were praying about. Just silence, stretching longer than you expected it to. Long enough that you started to wonder if anyone was actually listening on the other end of it. You have probably asked yourself the question quietly, maybe even ashamed to say it out loud. Did I do something wrong? Am I being punished? Is God simply not paying attention to this particular part of my life? I want to answer that plainly, right now, so you can stop carrying the weight of that question any longer. The silence was never me ignoring you. It was never punishment. It was never distance. The silence was preparation, and I need you to understand the difference, because it changes everything about how you carry the waiting. You live in a world that expects immediate response. You ask a question, you get an answer within seconds. You send a message, you expect a reply before you have even set the phone down. That pace has trained you to interpret any delay as rejection. If the answer does not come quickly, you assume it is not coming at all, or worse, that you were not worth answering in the first place. But I do not operate on your timeline, and the delay you have been interpreting as absence was never that. While you were waiting, wondering if I had forgotten you, I was doing work you could not see yet, preparing the people, the timing, the circumstances, and yes, preparing you for what the answer actually required in order to land well in your life. Think about what it would have meant if I had answered too early, before you were ready to receive it, before the version of you capable of carrying that answer had fully formed yet. Sometimes the very thing you are asking for would have broken you if it arrived before you had the strength to hold it. I was not withholding it to hurt you. I was withholding it because I loved you too much to hand you something you were not yet built to carry. The Matrix wants you to believe that unanswered prayer means unheard prayer. It wants you to give up faster, to stop believing, to interpret silence as proof that none of this was ever real to begin with. But silence is not evidence of absence. Silence is often evidence of depth, the kind of work that takes place quietly, underground, long before anything visible breaks through the surface. I want you to think about every seed that has ever grown. Before anything visible happens above the ground, there are weeks of complete silence beneath it. No sign of life, no indication that anything is happening at all. If you dug it up during that silence, worried that nothing was working, you would destroy the very thing that was quietly forming, right on schedule, exactly as it needed to. Your prayer was not different. The silence you have been enduring was not evidence that nothing was happening. It was evidence that something was happening beneath the surface, in a place you could not yet see, at a depth your impatience was never going to be able to reach. I know waiting is one of the hardest things I ever ask of you. It is far easier to receive an answer than to trust one is coming while everything around you looks unchanged. But I am asking you to trust the process happening in the dark. The same way every farmer trusts a seed they cannot see growing beneath the soil. Some of what you have been praying for required more than a simple yes. It required timing that had not arrived yet. It required people who were not ready yet. It required a version of you that had not finished forming yet. All of that takes time that cannot be rushed, no matter how badly you wanted the waiting to be shorter than it was. I also want you to consider something you may not have thought about. Sometimes silence is not preparation for the answer you asked for. Sometimes it is preparation for an answer better than the one you knew to ask for in the first place. You cannot always see far enough ahead to know what you actually need, but I can. And sometimes my silence is me quietly redirecting what you were asking for towards something that will serve you far better than the original request would have. That does not mean every unanswered prayer becomes something better eventually. I am not promising you a tidy resolution to every difficult season. Some silences remain mysteries, even after the waiting ends. But I am telling you, the silence itself was never proof that I stopped caring, stopped listening, or stopped working on your behalf, even in the moments it felt that way the most. I know some of you have been waiting so long that hope itself has started to feel exhausting. You do not want to get your hopes up again, only to be disappointed one more time. So you have stopped asking as boldly as you used to. You have started protecting yourself from the pain of unanswered prayer by simply expecting less, hoping less, believing less. I understand why you did that. Disappointment is heavy, and you were tired of carrying it. But I want to gently invite you back into hope. Not because I am promising the exact answer you have been waiting for, but because the posture of giving up on hope entirely closes you off from noticing the answer, even if it arrives in a form you were not expecting. Sometimes the silence ends quietly, without fanfare, in a way so subtle you could miss it if you are not paying attention. A door opens that you had stopped watching. A conversation happens that shifts something you had given up on. A feeling of peace settles over a situation that used to keep you awake at night. These are not always dramatic breakthroughs. Sometimes they are quiet ones, easy to overlook if you have trained yourself to expect nothing at all. I am asking you to stay soft enough to notice, even after a long season of silence. Not naive, not blind to real pain and real disappointment, but soft enough that when the answer does come, however it comes, you are still capable of recognizing it as what it is. I also want to tell you something about the waiting itself, not just what comes after it. The person you are becoming during this silence matters to me, independent of whether the specific prayer is answered the way you hoped. The patience you are building right now, the trust you are developing in the absence of proof, the faith you are practicing when it would be easier to walk away entirely. All of that is forming something in you that the answer alone never could have. You are not simply waiting for an outcome. You are becoming someone capable of carrying whatever outcome eventually arrives, whether it looks exactly like what you asked for or something else entirely. So here is what I am asking of you in this season of silence, whether it is beginning, in the middle, or finally coming to an end. Do not interpret my quiet as my absence. I have never left the room, even in the moments it felt emptiest. I have been working in places you could not see, preparing timing you could not have arranged yourself, forming people and circumstances that were not ready the day you first prayed, but are being readied now, even in this very silence. You are enduring. Keep asking, even when the asking feels repetitive, even when it feels like you are speaking into an empty room. I hear every version of the same prayer you have repeated, and I am not tired of hearing it, even if you are tired of praying it. And when the waiting feels unbearable, remember the seed beneath the soil. Remember that the most important growth in any living thing happens in the dark, unseen, long before anything visible breaks through the surface. Your prayer is not dead simply because you cannot see movement yet. It is doing exactly what a seed does during the part of its story no one gets to witness. I know this season has been hard. I know some days the silence has felt less like preparation and more like abandonment. I am not asking you to pretend that pain away, but I am asking you to trust that the pain and the preparation were never mutually exclusive. Both were happening at the same time, even on the days it only felt like one of them. You are not forgotten. You were never forgotten, not for a single day of this silence. I have been closer than you realized, working on your behalf in ways you will likely only understand fully once you can look back on this season from the other side of it. So, hold on. Not blindly, not without honesty about how hard this has been, but hold on knowing that silence was never the absence of my care. It was the sound of preparation happening in a place you simply could not see yet. I am still here. I have never left. And what I am preparing is worth the wait, even on the days waiting feels like more than you can carry. Until the next one, awakened choosers.